In less than 60 days, I dismantled my entire life, convinced that a restless itch justified the upheaval. My name is Tara, and I was tethered to a man who embodied every quality a woman might yearn for in a partner. Ethan was tender, unwavering, the kind of person who memorized my latte order and never raised his voice, even when I was clearly at fault. We shared a cozy home with a neatly trimmed backyard, a dog named Murphy who greeted us with boundless enthusiasm, and a comfortable routine that wrapped around us like a favorite blanket, perhaps too snug for my liking. At 29, I found myself endlessly scrolling through my phone, captivated by images of women living vibrant, untethered lives, dancing through sunlit summers while I sank into the couch in worn sweatpants, watching reruns of familiar sitcoms beside Ethan. Social media showcased influencers sipping cocktails on distant shores, swaying on luxurious yachts, or stealing kisses with strangers under the pulsing lights of exclusive clubs. Meanwhile, I was deliberating over countertop samples for our upcoming kitchen remodel. The unease crept in quietly at first, a persistent whisper in my thoughts questioning, "Is this really all there is? You have years ahead to be tied down. What if there's something grander out there waiting?" Initially, it felt harmless. I started tagging along with my single friends for evenings out, trading my usual loungewear for daring outfits that might have prompted a curious glance from Ethan. Not out of jealousy, but because I typically lean toward comfort over flash. I began posting playful, suggestive photos online, just for the thrill of it. When Ethan gently asked if I was okay, I deflected with a breezy, "I'm just figuring out who I am." What I truly sought was the rush of being wanted again, not by the man who already knew my quiet habits and deepest flaws, but by strangers who saw only the polished version of me I chose to share. Then came the evening that changed everything. My friend Leia threw a lavish yacht party. Picture endless flutes of Prosecco, a private DJ spinning vibrant tracks, and guests filming themselves twirling in swimsuits under the starlit sky. I arrived in a striking red dress I hadn't worn since my early 20s, feeling like I'd stepped back into a younger, bolder version of myself. Leia handed me a glass of sparkling wine and teased, "Tonight, pretend you're unattached." For reasons I can't fully justify, I embraced the challenge. I flirted recklessly, danced with wild abandon, ignoring the admiring glances around me. A man named Derek offered me sweet raspberries and delivered compliments so smooth they felt rehearsed. Yet I drank them in, basking in the glow of feeling alive, young and magnetic. I posted a brief video online, a fleeting glimpse of me sipping wine, Derek's arm draped casually around me. I didn't expect Ethan to see it. He rarely checks social media, but he did. I staggered home at 4 o'clock in the morning, heels in hand, mascara smudged, my heart racing because I knew what was coming. Ethan was waiting in the living room, perched on the recliner, his phone casting a soft glow across his face, his expression hollow. He didn't yell or accuse me of infidelity. Instead, he asked quietly, "Have you fallen for someone else?" I denied it, but I didn't affirm my commitment to him either. I mumbled something vague about needing space, about feeling like I'd lost myself in our marriage. I half expected him to beg, to demand we work through it, to fight for us. He didn't. He stood, gave a slow, measured nod and said, "If finding yourself means leaving me behind, I hope it's worth the cost." Within a week, I'd packed a suitcase and walked away. Those early weeks felt like a whirlwind of freedom. Every night brought a fresh adventure. Late-night dance floors, spontaneous weekend trips, drinks paid for by men who didn't care to know my full name. I dove into short-lived romances, made transient friends, and collected countless likes from anonymous followers online. For a brief moment, it seemed like enough to fill me up. But soon, the nights grew louder while I felt emptier. The thrill of hangovers faded. The men I met blurred into a repetitive cycle. Same charming lines, same shallow intentions, same fleeting goodbyes. Then I stumbled across Ethan's name in a comment thread. A mutual friend had tagged him in a photo from a cozy, warm dinner party. He looked at peace, relaxed, sitting next to a woman I didn't recognize. She had a soft, genuine smile, the kind of warmth I used to exude. I texted him, "Hey, I've been thinking about you. No reply. The next day I sent, I miss you. Still nothing. I called, my heart hammering, and reached his voicemail. I left a messy, heartfelt message, stumbling over my words, admitting my mistakes, confessing how much I yearned for our old life, how I didn't recognize the person I tried to become. Silence followed. Days stretched into a week, then two. In desperation, I reached out to a mutual friend, casually asking about Ethan. Her response hit like a blow. He's seeing someone new. I wish I could say I handled it with grace, that I wished him happiness. Instead, I fell apart in the back of a rideshare, gripping my bag, tears falling as the driver awkwardly handed me a water bottle and a box of tissues, as if I'd earned the right to mourn a loss I'd brought upon myself. Here's the painful truth no one tells you when you exchange true, steadfast love for a fleeting pursuit of excitement. The world doesn't wait for your remorse. People move on. They heal. They rebuild, whether you're part of their story or not. Now I'm holed up in a small studio with peeling paint, a mattress on the floor, and a fridge crammed with takeout I can't bring myself to eat. I scroll through old pictures of Ethan and me, hanging fairy lights on our first Christmas tree, laughing through a failed baking workshop, sharing overcooked waffles in bed after my one disastrous attempt at breakfast. I want to tell him I found myself, that she's scared, that she regrets everything, that I'd trade every wild night for one more evening curled up with him and Murphy. But he doesn't answer, and I understand why. I walked away from a man who loved me completely for a world that never truly saw me. If you ever feel the urge to leave behind someone who cherishes you for the fleeting allure of a shinier life, stop and ask yourself if you're ready to lose what's real for something that fades. Because once they're gone, truly gone, no amount of temporary admiration can replace the emptiness they leave behind. I abandoned my husband for a fleeting dream of freedom.